Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima. Book 4, Earth. Chapter 12, Fire in the Mountains. All the denizens of Alterus loved the winter solstice a whole lot, but the wicked Nemesis, who had just landed back in the Flipside, very much did not. And why would it? It remembered how it felt just before it was banished. The combined anima from the Heartwood and the winter solstice spirit was too much for its corrupt countenance. But when that little snail insulted it, it didn't care about all that. It almost had her in its grasp when those clown gremlins mowed it down under their feet. Then it ended up in a pit, the fragments started glowing, and then... well, you know the rest. And yet... It watched the team celebrate through the window to Alterus it had created. The air and dark champions. They had both been through so much during the war. It would have guessed that they would never smile again after all they went through. But here they were, laughing and joking like they didn't have a care in the world. It felt an ache in its form, one that wasn't just from its exhaustion and sickness. There was something about the scene before it that it longed for. It could see that despite having few material possessions and little magical power on their own, these two friends were happy. At that moment, Nemesis wanted nothing more than what they had. What was this feeling? Was Nemesis growing soft? Did it seriously want to surrender its precious and hard-gotten anima to another? To give up all the power it had for a simple and pathetic life like the fairies before him now? What would happen if the Heart of Darkness were to hear of this? Besides, that was impossible. Nemesis was a wendigo. Its nature was to consume magic, and it never would be happy as long as it didn't. Maybe that winter solstice spirit had gotten to its head more than it would have liked to admit. Nemesis reluctantly opened another viewing window. There were only two anima fragments left now, Yuki and Excalibur, fire and light. And it would have to find them fast. It was running out of time. It had already burned itself trying to grab Terra with the other fragments near. Those kids were becoming too powerful. At this rate, they would have all the fragments of Anima before next summer. Then, neither Nemesis nor any of the Heart of Darkness's other generals could hope to stop them. It couldn't find any signs of the two missing fragments on Pandora. Good. They weren't on this continent, at least. Its shoulders relaxed, if only slightly. Kind of strange that half of the fragments would land on the same continent, it thought. But it was in no position to question this. It scrolled the window westward. Tempest Island was still moving in that direction. After some scrolling, it landed on the continent across the Lapis Ocean from Pandora, a continent known as Kirkea. Moving inward slightly, it sensed a powerful source of fire magic. Nemesis adjusted its view to the ground. The view showed a frightening, inhospitable mountain range, all covered in snow and ice. But in the very center, there was a valley teeming with greenery. Zooming in, Nemesis could see that the very air was choked with clouds of warm steam. All around was a beautiful but dangerous tropical rainforest, teeming with snakes hanging from the twisted branches in the canopy of the forest, some of which breathed fire. There was no mistaking where this was. This was the jungle of the Wise Serpent, named for the legend of the elder snake fairy who taught the jungle's residents the art of chi combat, a style of martial arts that combined physical movements with spellcasting. Nemesis didn't really care about the Altarians' paltry little stories. It was more interested in finding Yuki. Its magical sensing powers led it to a mountain in the distance, this one much taller and darker than the others. Looking closer, it realized that this was Mount Inferno. Everyone in Alterus knew to stay away from Mount Inferno. The mountain housed some of the worst criminals the world knew. Guarding it was the fearsome lava dragon Grimhide. Standing nearly as tall as the mountain itself, Grimhide could bring a whole battalion of wendigos down with just one fiery breath. Nemesis gulped, remembering how the lava dragon decimated entire armies of wendigos during the war. It made sense that Grimhide would be guarding Mount Inferno. What criminal would even try to escape, knowing that they would have to face such a formidable beast? But then another thought came to Nemesis. If Grimhide was guarding Mount Inferno, he would not let Jack Thunder in so easily either. The lava dragon might barbecue him alive before he even had a chance to get in the door. For some reason, Nemesis didn't laugh at that thought. It didn't need those kids to die. It just needed them out of the way. It needed to get Yuki away from them. Even if it couldn't destroy the fragments of Anima, it could still hide them where the team could never find them. And if they were missing even one of the fragments, it would be enough to stop them from halting the Heart of Darkness's return to Alterus. Nemesis sighed. It really didn't understand. Maybe it didn't matter. It would find some way to stop Jack Thunder from getting Yuki, no matter what.